But in terms of allocated points, we took the 999 that existed before and we reduced it down to 140. With doing that, we actually we link that to the current version of Chaos that's out. So if we release more Chaos levels and add more content, we'll raise those caps over time. It synchronizes with that. But for now, you can put 140 points into some of the larger, stat gain areas, and this also kind of allows you to get a little more build flexibility out of your Ascension points. Before you would really feel like you had to, be dropping all your points into, let's say if you're you're trying to do hero DPS, and you have to drop all your points into crit damage because you want, your hero to be as geared as they can be to do hero crit damage, and you can put 999 points into it. Now you actually cap out at 140, so you can hit that cap fairly easily. It's around Essential level 400 to 500. We have a lot of players there right now, so you might be able to cap out one.
Oh, this is the guy who sat there doing this.
But it'll also allow you to start putting points.
If anyone remembers that,
I
remember that.
So you don't feel as restricted to putting points into just one area for this really long period of playing the game, and that's kind of what we were looking for. We were looking for giving you more flexible and interesting choices as you're leveling up with Ascension. And then also just not getting insanely...
Also, their audio is more off-sync than mine is, and that's saying something.
Just had Ascension 2,000, and we're just throwing tons of points and things. We didn't want people to be so overpowered that they would just be bored by all our future content, so we're trying to think about that too when making these changes. But also, we don't want to discourage anyone from leveling up extra. That's kind of why we added in some fun rewards and possibly titles and things for gaining higher Ascension levels. So you guys will have to check those out and see what those are. Another thing we also did, just in the gameplay side, is we changed the way multiplayer scaling works. We're hearing a lot of feedback from players that it was really restrictive and really hard, especially with the damage scaling that was going on. When you'd have 4 players in a match.
I get the feeling they don't listen to what player feedback says,
kind of a lot of,
and they only take it from the small, minute group.
Having other players
this is just shit.
Enemies would just scale up crazily and do a ton of damage and just wreck your defenses, and so it just made it kind of too hard to be fun. So we toned it down a little bit. We made it just a health increase. So with each player, now mobs do get a health increase, but their damage isn't touched. So they're not going to completely wipe out your walls in half a second when you have 4 players anymore. They will be a little bit harder to kill because we are counting on that you have other people, actively playing the game and not just AFK in a corner, and they're actually helping you, repair and attack stuff, and they're helping you defend, essentially, and not just AFKing. So we counted on kind of multiple people playing with you. That's why the health numbers are up. We didn't want it to just be a steamroll with 4 players joining. But we also agreed that things were dying too quickly, and it was kind of taking a little bit of the fun out of playing in multiplayer. There's also some
I
things
think,
we want to do in the future,
the problem with the game itself takes the fun out of it, not enemies dying too quickly because you can't balance anything.
Careful about that. And I'll talk about that when I answer one of the community questions later. And again, it's not really set in stone. We'll continue to monitor feedback about the scaling and see if there's more things we can do to make it feel even better than where it is. I honestly think this current iteration of it makes it feel so much better. Playing this, I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it, because playing this is.
He says that, but how long is going to be? This update will be pushed back.
I can't wait. Some other bigger quality of life and bug fix things. In the shard equip screen, and maybe I'll have Eric pull it up after he's done with the combat phase, but in the equip screen now, shards that aren't equipable for that hero that you're currently trying to equip for, they won't show up. So if you're equipping, Gunwitch shards, only Gunwitch
that should have already been in the game.
Shards will show up in the shard.
Just saying.
So it'll drastically reduce kind of the bloat that ends up happening in that shard equip window. Another thing that we did is we were getting a lot of tickets for people that mistakenly sold all of one of their bags. They would hit the sell all and lose a lot of stuff, lose a whole bag of pets, lose a whole bag of gear. We added a 3-second timer now on the sell all pop-up to reduce the likelihood of accidentally selling all of your things. So you have to, it's like you have to see the pop-up.
Anyone notice how they don't respond to me in the chat?
Send it through.
They respond to Juice Bags and everyone else that's in that chat, but not me.
Really like to eventually do some sort of
they really don't like me. I want a reason.
Solve this probably in a better way. But for now, just something we could do quickly was add in this timer so that you don't, you're not just clicking through the pop-ups. I know the pop-ups are kind of weird on some of the rarities when you're trying to sell individual items. People get into the flow of, oh, I'm just going to keep closing these pop-ups when they pop up because I know what they say, and then maybe they hit sell all, and they just click through it really fast and then end up selling all their stuff and sending us a ticket. Another thing we did was we increased the size of the weak spot on the siege roller. So the weak spot will be a little bit easier to hit now. We didn't really change anything else other about the siege roller. We just really wanted to make it so that hitting that weak point was easier. Essentially amplifying that correct playstyle, right? Like you should be hitting the weak point. So we try to make it easier to hit. Some people were having issues with it. Even our own internal testing was having issues sometimes hitting the weak point. So we fixed that, made it a little bit easier, and that should feel a lot better.
This also helps with on ledges, like in sewers and ruins. It was higher now, so you can hit it while it's on a ledge or going down a ramp. So that also will help with that as well.
Yeah, like Eric was saying, sometimes it would go down a ramp and the weak point would kind of go into the geometry a little bit, and you'd have a harder time.
Well, fix your fucking levels then.
This also solved that problem that some people were having, where in some cases they couldn't hit the weak point on a siege roller, and they would have a really hard time killing it. Another thing we fixed is we fixed the weapon manufacturer crit bug, so you don't have to hero swap anymore to get the crit amount to fix. So it's an awesome fix that we got. I was watching so many streams where people were doing that, and I just felt so bad.
No, you weren't watching so many streams. You were watching Sidewalk Hero, or you were watching Juice Bags.
So that's
you
really
fucking liar.
Most of the stuff that's coming with this patch. There's a couple other small things that we're still kind of tuning up and working to get in. They may or may not get cut with this patch, so I don't want to really talk about them now, but really, this patch is chock full of progression improvements, ascension improvements, loot improvements. We tried to address the main concerns from the trials feedback that we were receiving. So really, people coming back to the game it should feel significantly different in terms of, getting loot upgrades, getting gold for upgrades, just everything. Everything should feel very different when you come back and play in this update. So I'm going to go straight into just community Q&A. Again, don't have Blacksmith here with me today. He's not feeling well, so I'm kind of we're going.
I wouldn't be feeling well if I worked for Trendy.
Sonic style, even gotta go fast. So I'm going to go into the first question. Do we have an ETA on the end of early access? Also, start asking questions in the chat. I'll pull a couple of them.
Yeah, I'm asking questions in the chat. Fucking respond to me!
And I'll try to answer it as best as I can. I might not have the answer to everything, because obviously I don't have Dan here with me, and he can usually answer the design stuff a little bit better than I can, because usually it's his thought processes. They
haven't got slow mode. This is their own fault, really.
But I'll try to answer everything the best as I can. Do we have an ETA on the end of early access? Just curious about Trendy's goals for the coming months and year. So one thing we really want to do, ETA on the end of early, just to answer the first question, ETA on the end of early access, can't really give an ETA on the end of early access. That's not something that, obviously when we announce that, we'll be announcing it like everywhere. We'll be telling as many people as we can once we kind of have, once we're able to talk about some sort of release date. So that's the answer to that question. In terms of our
That's not an answer.
Plans for the coming months and year, there's a lot of stuff we're looking at for making the game better, and a lot of stuff we're really working on right now. There's some really big areas of the game. Like I'll give one example. A lot of systems in our game, newer players have a really hard time understanding. Everything from
That's because the only way to understand it is to watch a Juice Bags video, and I don't want to put myself through that.
How to play the game. I mean, I've watched so many people build towers in front of walls. I can't even describe it. Also explaining hero swapping and things like that. There's a lot of systems that are...
Hero swapping, you press F1 to 4. It's easy to understand.
Create in-game ways of presenting those systems and presenting really how to play our game to players. I wish everyone watched some Juice Bags YouTube videos.
Oh,
or, like,
fuck
how to do
off.
Streams or, you know, just
Fuck
watch
off,
kind of
you
the
fucking
third-party
loser.
video about our game, but the reality is that,
Watching
not everyone
Juice
watches
Bags
that.
and
Honestly,
watching
not everyone
Sidewalk
watches
Hero
that.
shouldn't have to be the main source of any information for your
source
stupid game.
how to play the game.
You should
It's
make
actually
it easy to understand or have stuff in-game to make it helpful. Not watch two people who are mind-numbingly annoying
really excited about those
to
things
watch.
help people understand the game better and have a
It's
better
like they're
time.
fucking paid to promote
So
them
some of the
to.
stuff that we're working on, and then also a couple other areas we're working on is we're going back through and kind of working on some secret story bits.
There is
that's
no
like-
story!
that's like
You do not have a story!
taboo word for, like,
DD1
gameplay.
had a better story, and I don't know what that was about.
It's more just we want you to have investment in the characters in our world. You know, we have this beautifully done world. The art in the game is amazing, and some of our artists really want to deliver at least a bit of a narrative and kind of characters for you to follow. So there's some really cool.
I follow the
stuff about
Barbarian.
that.
If you would add him to the
Get
game.
involved in you know, the world of Etheria. So that's some of the little things we're doing in terms of gameplay stuff. I can't really talk about any of that stuff right now.
Of course you can't talk about it, because you don't have anything to show. All this stuff you go on about is just shit.
So I can't wait to be able to talk about it.
Oh, fuck
I
off.
just
This
wanted to
guy
talk about
is
a couple
just
of things
chatting
to talk about
so
with the
much
world.
shit.
Cool stuff. There's some
You
stuff
are
I'm
like
working
the
on.
really bad PR guy who takes the heat for everything. You don't know what you're doing.
To show you guys soon, which I'm really excited about. Something I've been.
Where are the maps that they teased on Twitter like a year ago? I remember those maps. Where are they?
And then honestly, we want to eventually come up with some sort of roadmap, right? Like we want to be able to tell you guys, hey, here's kind of our plan for the future.
You should have a roadmap already. Your game is in early access.
And talking about it on the dev stream.
DayZ has a better plan than you do.
Talking about that internally and kind of going over, all right, what does that look like for DD2 in 2017? So that's something that we're working on, and we'll have something to update you guys about that soon. Will we get something to control who can and can't join our matches? Yes. What that will be is still kind of to be determined. I know people have been suggesting kind of another loot power rating of determining how people can join your game. Something also we're looking at is just setting ascension level and having that be the restricting factor. So you can just set it only, 200 plus ascension can join my game. That's another option we've been kind of exploring. We haven't settled on anything yet, but we do want to allow you to have that functionality again.
Clip it if you want,
That's
Ed.
something we're looking into. And that might be sooner rather than later. I just don't want to...
It will be later. It will be later. Nothing you do is sooner.
Reroll, or will our current gear...
Add a loot reroll. Every fucking game that has loot has a loot reroll. Just do it, you bunch of
really
fucking
just need to go out and get this
idiots.
better loot now. You can still... We haven't changed, like, the balance of...
There is no balance. You
So all your
fucking
gear- all
idiot.
your gear
Do
can
you
still
actually
do the
play
same
your
thing you're doing
own
before.
game?
It's just now you have better gear to go get. That'll let you, be a little bit better than you were before. In regards to all the stats on items rolling independently, will this include the primary stat as well? Yes. The primary stat will be more than the secondary stats, obviously, but it definitely still rolls within a range. The item generation is much more stat dependent now, because that's kind of where we wanted to
All
take it.
item rolling should be
so-
stat dependent.
Yeah,
I
you'll-
swear to
you'll
God,
get great
none of these
stats.
people play their own game.
It's so much better than it was previously. I can't emphasize that enough. Will the Wayfarer start selling Chaos 5, 6, and 7 variants of the Terraria weapons soon? So that's interesting.
It's not interesting! He sells Chaos 1 or campaign weapons.
Talk about. There's
What do you mean you can't talk about it? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Not only just incursions, but all of the unique weapons.
Oh my...
that were-
Who plays incursions?
Or just from certain levels.
Who the
There's
fuck plays
something we're
incursions?
doing with those so you can get
Oh
back
my
at
God!
levels.
They don't play
I'll
their
have
own
more
fucking
details
game.
about that in a future dev stream, but there is a plan for those, and they are coming back along with incursions. So that much I can say. So yes, sort of. He will eventually start selling some more powerful Terraria weapons again. We'll just talk about that at a later date. How can we tell what item is better for getting higher stat drops? So we took
It has higher stat drops.
and made it way more stat centric.
Everyone, it's written on the forums. If it has higher stats, it's better.
Determining factors, just look at the gear.
It's not hard to understand.
Look at the stats that are on it. If they're just higher in general, it's a better item, and that's my understanding of how it works right now.
You make the game. You shouldn't be. That's my understanding of how it works. You should know how it works. You made the fucking game.
Focusing on the stats of the items and determining what'll be a better range for them. Any chance we can make win streaks account bound and not session bound? So I think this question is kind of asking, can we keep the win streak when we log off and stuff like that? Right now, that's not our intention for the win streak system. We are talking about...
It should be your intention for the win streak because the game disconnects every 5 minutes. You can't keep a fucking win streak.
For rewarding players for playing. But this particular...
You don't reward anyone for playing. You reward people for bashing out C3 with their C7 gear for 2 hours straight, hoping the servers don't disconnect, which they will.
Purpose that we wanted it to serve. But there are other things we want to do to kind of give you rewards in other ways. I can't say more than that, but that's kind of where I'll leave.
Is that all he's gonna say? Can't say more than that, guys. Sorry. Can't say more. It's not our intention.
Is that still happening? So yes, that is still happening. We are going to have. It'll actually show you the range of kind of where it can be. You can see the max upgrade level. Is kind of what I'm saying. We were trying to get that out for this patch, but it's just going to need a little more time. But yeah, that's something that is coming. It's not necessarily in this patch, but in the one right after.
I swear to God, almost everything he's saying that's coming out isn't necessarily in this patch.
I mean, the next larger update after it, just to be clear. Can we have the option to sort shards alphabetically on the shard equip screen? So shard equip screen, it's going to feel a lot better now. We're going to kind of be looking at feedback after this patch to see how it feels and see if people are still kind of...
I'm not even very far in this game, but I have issues trying to find shards.
Adding more sorting and filters to the shard equip screen, but for now, it's just, it's releasing it'll only show the hero that you're trying to equip it on, shards, the relevant shards that you actually can equip on that hero, on that piece of gear, and that should filter it down significantly. If players are still really, really want more than that, then we'll look at doing it. We'll look at ways we can do that in a good way.
Yeah, players are going to want you to look into that.
Consider moving defense crit damage ascension points to the defense tab and defense speed to the utility tab so we can make a hero DPS character and tower DPS on the same character. So this is kind of something I was talking about with the ascension points and kind of mixing it up a little bit better. Before, you felt like you had to put points into something for a really long time because you had the potential to put 999 points into it. So we changed that, so now you can only put in 140 max. This is something that I feel will make that feel less restrictive. At least that's something I found from going through and playing the game personally. With the
I do not believe for a second he has played the game.
You really you mix it up a lot more because now you can cap out some of those stats. It's kind of that feeling that we really enjoyed from Diablo 3 where maybe you cap out something.
Oh, fuck off.
Like Diablo 3,
at least Diablo 3 is fun to play.
You level up like 25 times in their Paragon system, and then you had to put points into something else.
You can reset Diablo Paragon for free, I'm just saying.
You can put a lot of points into that primary thing that you wanted first, but then you're going to start putting points into other things too to really start giving you variety in your Ascension build. So now I'm going to take some questions from the chat. So you have to excuse me while I parse through these real quick. Let's see here. Can you make it so that if you host a public game and you go to win streaks and you hit continue, you don't sometimes get randomly dropped into a completely different game with continued? I'm not sure if that's one of the things we fixed with this patch. There was some issue.
I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't fix it.
That is fixed in this patch. We didn't fix all of them, but there's several matchmaking fixes that were fixed with this. It should be way better and more reliable with this patch.
Don't believe you.
we're still working on it. We're still continuing to work on matchmaking stuff and make it better. If you guys haven't noticed, we've been having some server issues over the past days.
Oh,
There's a
I've
ton of
noticed.
stuff that we're going in and really like diving deep into try and make better about, you know, the play versus matchmaking and everything that's going on the back end. So we're definitely working really hard on making that better. Again, another question is the play versus servers down for a specific reason. Again, we're trying to make all of our server stuff, matchmaking issues, all of this better. You know, we're really pushing hard for coming out of early access, so we're really trying to make all our systems better. So this is kind of part of that. Obviously, we're still in early access. We're going to be breaking some stuff as we try to make it better. So we don't like our game being down. That's not something we're actively trying to do.
If you don't like it being down, fix it.
We're trying to not
Seriously, it's not that hard.
But there's going
Fix
to be
it.
cases where it does. But that just means we're touching systems that definitely are sensitive, and hopefully we'll be able to make it better soon. Let's see here. When are we getting a DD1 style tavern defense and DD2's hero marketplace? Get out of here, Sidewalk. No, thank you.
Oh, what a surprise. He reads Sidewalk's question. I bet he looked for that as well. That or he saw his name was like, oh, I've got to read out Sidewalk's question.
Capping out at 999. I don't really know what that question means. I hope I kind of answered that with my Ascension describing stuff. I don't really know. Any thought on the upgrade change, the weapon shooting type, change a single shot into penta? Oh, so like doing projectile upgrading? Maybe. We can look at that in the future.
You're not going to look at that.
Something that just rolls
You are not going to look at that.
We can explore making that feel even better in the future. That's not something I've thought about. I don't know if Dan's thought about it, so I can't really speak that much to what design's been thinking about that. But that might be cool. That might be a cool thing to do. Let's see here. When are we going to fix DPS tooltips? Never. Just never.
Oh, yeah, you won't fix them, ever. You will not fix
I'll
them.
look into it.
No, you won't. You will not look into it.
Maps? Maybe eventually. I'd really love to bring
That's a no, by the way. If anyone's wondering, that's a no.
That's something we've been talking about for a while. Is kind of how we're going to redo that. It's a lot of kind of stuff we're working on for the future. So eventually, probably. I'm just not going to say it's not going to be very soon because it's going to be a lot of work. What's with the old special weapons? The current ones are so boring. We have new special weapons made with cool effects. We're going to be bringing back all of these special weapons very soon. It's something we're actively working on and kind of making them useful again in the current progression of the game. So those are coming back, and all of them should be good. And that's something I'm not going to say exactly how they're coming back because that's spoilery, but they are coming back.
Spoilery for what? It's like this game has
Chance to get a
story.
viable single target tower. I don't know, man. There's some viable single target towers right now. You might just have to find what you need to get them to work.
They don't work because of your balance problems.
Man. So that question comes up all the time. We're looking into map rotating systems and stuff like that, and we're getting data on. We're accumulating a lot of data on kind of the maps that people enjoy and like to play, the ones they quit out of, all these kind of things, and then that's going to help us make those decisions as to what the future maps are in the different chaos levels and stuff like that. So it's something we're still investigating and looking into, but I don't have like a concrete answer for it yet because I also
None of your answers are concrete.
And then just be totally wrong if we do it a different way. But it's something we're looking into and we're working on. Let's see here. Mini Mustachio. Oh, what's up, dude? Juice Bags, what's going on?
Oh, fuck you, you absolute fucking loser! You read my fucking name out, but you don't respond to my question that I've posted in your chat like 20 fucking times! What the fuck is wrong with you?
A certain thing we're doing possibly for that soon. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Oh god, my winking's breaking. I'm asleep. But yeah, there's some cool stuff we're working on to make kind of some of more of that Ascension stuff more interesting. I can't talk about that right now, but we're gonna be talking.
You can't talk about anything. That's all you've said for the past however long this has been on. I actually know how long we do these for.
I think it means
I never watch them.
Vote. And I don't even know. What are we even doing with influence? I'm just like banking it still. Like, it's just chilling, especially from logging in like every day here, working for Trendy now. I'm just like accumulating. If we ever take another vote, I'm gonna win it. So you better watch out.
Maybe you do the barbarian vote and it will just magically lose again, right?
Listen to me. Can we get more than F1 through F4 for the build phase? You can currently change out any hero during the build phase. So I think I see what you're meaning. Where like more hotkeys maybe for like quick swapping between heroes during build phase. Maybe that's something we can do in the future.
That's something you should do in the future because there's a lot of heroes in the game, and going into your shit heroes menu isn't fun.
I was way back in the chat.
Look, right here.
Do we get something for chaos so we don't have to play the same? Oh my gosh.
See?
I just talked about map rotating. So
Yeah, they don't play their own game. That person knows what's up.
Will there be a fuse shards feature to make bad shards fusible with good shards? Eventually, maybe, possibly.
That's... You can just tell by the way this guy...
Shards, which are the popular ones. Again,
the way this guy talks about the stuff with the... Maybe, we'll look into it, maybe. It's not going to happen.
Enjoying, which ones are they upgrading the most? You know, and then we'll kind of explore where we go from there. Dan also has a lot of ideas for kind of the future of shards, so I don't want to speak for him. But yeah, so we're talking about some things you can do with shards in the future. Let's see here. What about stacking the same shard? Not currently, but we'll think about it.
You will not think
Shard
about it.
Nerfs come with additional shard slots coming. Not really. We didn't really nerf. Did we nerf any shard in this build? I mean, we're actually looking at buffing a lot of the shards. A lot of the ones that people aren't using. So...
Yeah, there's a reason people aren't using them, because only a couple are good.
It's got to be a bug, so just let us... Oh my... Oh, that XP is perfect. Maybe you de-leveled from that. Well, that's good. Definitely not bugged. We're shipping with that. No, we're not. Just kidding. But yeah, there's a lot of shard buffs coming. We didn't really go in and nerf any shard with this patch, so that shouldn't be happening. Something that bugs me to do. Coming soon, because it's a lot about numbers changing, aside from a few new enemies. There's some stuff coming soon. Can't talk about it yet. Again, that's coming in a future patch. That'll be soon after kind of this systems patch. This patch was really meant to kind of
Everything this guy is saying is we can't talk about it.
A lot of the systems that we had in our game, you know, improve progression, improve.
What's the point of taking questions if that's your only fucking response?
Rip matchmaking. All right, sweet. But that's what this patch was meant for. Last patch we had a lot of just like content stuff. This patch is more system based. Next patch we'll have a mix. So there's more content coming. It's just this patch specifically was to address a lot of the system issues that people have been feeling, and really
also this isn't in line.
Playing the game, especially during chaos, feel a lot better. Let's see here. Why'd you go with a cap on Ascension over reducing the amount of XP from the higher Ascension players? Can't really answer that, honestly.
You can't answer anything.
So I just can't answer that intelligently, I guess. You know what I mean?
You can't answer anything intelligently. You have the IQ of a fucking monkey.
Like slaved over how they're gonna do that. So yeah, that's just how it be. Let's see here. I'll take maybe like 2 more questions. Bring back Girl Squire, please, please.
Yeah, stroke your triple chin.
Maybe soon in the future. Are there plans to increase the number of towers and elemental combos to make the game more strategic? That's something we.
This game is not strategic. It's the same thing throughout. It's always been. This game has no balance.
For this year, because I honestly like that's some of the stuff that I really enjoyed in the game too. So you never know. We might actually have that in soon rather than later. Will we get any more set gear shards like the storm gear from Spider Dan? Maybe. There's a lot of kind of shard plans for the future. I don't have the specifics on those, and I'm not even sure if I can talk about the specifics on those.
Oh my god!
There's definitely a lot of future shards that are going to be coming, that are going to be adding more like interesting ways to build gear. Let's see here. If you get Ascension 1800 a monk, you'll have an offense column maxed out. So if that happens, you'll be getting points only for defense utility or offense 2 when you can't put it in. I don't know the answer to that. So I don't exactly know how
it saves in the back end. So when we release future chaoses, those points will just be able to be allocated when that cap gets raised.
So they get ninja non-points?
It'll still say in the in the top. So it'll still say up in the top. For the category, it'll say offense with a number. You just cannot allocate those yet.
Sweet. Alright, so one more. What about stacking the same shard? I already answered that. Not right now, but we'll think about it. That's something
You won't think about it. You won't think about any of these suggestions.
We'll look more into kind of how inventory is going for a lot of players, and then we can talk about that later. Right now, we just don't have a system where if you have like one shard that's like upgraded, to have that be separated from the non-upgraded ones. That's some tech we actually have to like build out. So it just takes some time to actually put into the game. So it's not right now, but it's something we can talk about for the future for sure. And ultimate last one, because I totally lied. Shard crafting. And maybe. Again, this is kind of future shard system that we're looking into. So yeah. Thanks for joining us for DevStream 74, guys. I hope a lot of these loot issues are going to kind of solve a lot of the concerns people are having with playing Trials. I know it did for me personally as a player. It feels
You aren't a player.
I hope you guys will.
The way you answered some of those questions it's so obvious that you don't play your own game.
So that's the goal right now, and I can't wait to tell you guys about the stuff that's coming after this patch when I can talk about it. But I can't wait. It's very exciting stuff. So tune in next time when we do a dev stream. Hopefully I'll have some more info about future patches, and thanks for joining us.
That was just some shit. What the fuck? That guy does not play the game, okay? He doesn't play Dungeon Defenders. The way he answered so many of those questions is just so obvious that he doesn't play the game. All he did that whole time was just, I can't answer that. We'll look into that. They're not going to look into any of that. It's just... All that was just to read out the questions from Juice Bags and Sidewalk Hero. That was it. Kept reading out the exact same questions. Kept saying the same answers. Fucking ridiculous. Is the game even working? Okay, how many